They're invested in growing. Subconsciously, they're blocked. You hit it right on the head. It's like that fight or flight. Like, yes, I'm invested. I'm spending the money. I'm here to listen and open. Or it's like, I'm invested and I'm going to tell you all of the excuses of why I do what I do and who I am and blah, 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 blah. And then you're like, well, why did you spend the money then? Because
there's a part of them that knows they need to change. There's a part of them that knows that they want to change. It's not enough to know you need to change or feel like you need to change, and that you desire on a deep level. You really desire to change. When you mentioned the subconscious, that's one of the reasons why I decided that MAP had to be a part of what I offer. The person is introduced to their superconscious.
Welcome to another Million Miles, your personal lifestyle concierge with credibility. I'm Danielle Keasling. And in each episode, I connect you with unparalleled access to authentic, credible voices from across the entire world of beauty, wellness, fashion, travel, and mindset. Hi, friends, and welcome back to another episode of Another Million Miles, the podcast where we explore journeys, transformations, and breakthroughs that help us live a more fulfilled, freer, and more intentional life. I'm your host, Danielle Keasling, and today we're diving deep into the power of transformation, mindset, and healing from the inside out. So joining me today is the lovely Barbara Palmer, a CEO and founder of BP Life Coaching Services in Houston, Texas. Her career is nothing short of extraordinary. She is registered and licensed occupational therapist, a certified MAP, which makes anything possible practitioner, executive coach, mind moving method transformational coach, and certified health coach. So again, she is a retired college professor, program director, and the author of Happy, Healthy, Whole, a health and well-being workbook. So Barbara's work sits beautifully in this intersection of neuroscience, psychology, and spirituality. And she has been dedicating her life to helping people rewire their thinking, realign their energy, and rediscover what's actually truly possible through understanding universal laws. Without further ado, thank you, Barbara, so much for taking the time on this day and this beautiful day. I'm sure in Houston, it is in South Carolina, to speak with us and share your insights.
Well, thank you for having me, Danielle. And yes, it is a beautiful day in the Houston area. I think the high is 90 today, low around 69, something like that. But yeah, it's a beautiful day.
And so many people up north are having really cold weather already in the middle of October. So I'm happy to hear that. We have the weather as well.
Well, I'm originally from Detroit, so I totally can relate to the colder weather.
I'm a Midwest girl too, originally from Minneapolis.
All right. Yeah. And then so we migrated south.
We both did. Exactly. I can't even imagine living up in that cold weather anymore, but I think you just, you learn to adapt.
Yeah.
Well, so give me a little bit of background. I mean, obviously you have done a lot of things. You've had a very fulfilling and successful, it sounds like, career, life, and what makes you want to continue? Like it sounds like you could just be done if you wanted to and just retire.
It's interesting that you say that, because I had a conversation with one of my grandchildren who has a son. So I am a great grandmother, but I was having a conversation with my grandson, Harrison. He said to me, "Grandma, aren't you retired?" I say, yes, I'm retired from doing some things that I was doing before. However, this means that I get to focus on some other things that I really have a passion about. And so that's what I'm doing. Is actually about a year before I retired from being a program director at a private college and overseeing faculty in this associate degree program, I thought about, what do I really want to be doing? And that happened during COVID. So I think a lot of us had some aha moments, during that. But that's when I knew that what I really wanted to get back to is helping people to basically improve the quality of their lives, and not just in terms of working with patients as far as in healthcare, but my heart's desire. I have done life coaching type work even before. It was decades ago, and it felt like that was calling me again. Yeah. So that's why I started BP Life Coaching Services when I did, is because I felt like I needed to get back to that true calling. And so from then on, I was investing in myself in terms of me getting additional training, because I'm a little bit of a nerd, but I say that proudly. So that's why I looked into the neuroscience-based approaches. The mind movies is a way of laying down new neural pathways. The map is a way of clearing things that are creating issues, in terms of just how we think. It's neuroscience based as well. It also has a strong psychology base. And then I have a master's in Christian counseling. So it's like I get the spiritual approach to things, and no, a person doesn't have to be a Christian for me to work with them, but I get the spiritual. I understand that we are more than physical beings, that we are social, and we also are spiritual. It's like,
wow, you do so many things and I love it. I love that you called yourself a nerd because I'm the same. Like, I'm like, what else? What else? Like, how deep can I go into, like what the project I'm like passionate about or working on at the time? Where exactly are you right now in your journey I mean, you've done so many things. So what is it that you're doing now? Like, what's bringing you vitality, and like, what is it that you're working on every day?
yeah. What really gives me joy is working with C-suite execs to help them to be the very best authentic version of themselves as a leader, knowing how to model and have a vision that is clear, where they're not competing with others. They are not comparing themselves to others. They're being unique. They're tapping into their creativity and ability to come up with innovative ideas. And they're brave enough to embrace those unique ideas that come to them that nobody else is doing. And whatever may be going on within them is them learning how to be in alignment and to recognize when they're not in alignment with themselves. Because as far as when they're not being true to their core values, that can totally derail what it is that they are trying to accomplish, how they're leading, and even how they are interacting with the people around them. It could be that they have team leaders that are reporting to them, and they are not on the same page. They don't see the person as being on the same page with them. They may even feel like a person is being resistant, but it could be something going on with them, within them, that has nothing to do with the people around them. And so the MAP sessions help them to get in touch with that and to even clear that and let it go so it can improve their outcomes. And that starts with how they relate to the people around them.
Yeah, that's so interesting. I can relate to that in many ways. Give me a quick example of like a MAP session.
Okay. So in a MAP session, I'll start with initially there's an intro session. And even before the intro session, which is basically the first MAP session that they have, that's the intro. But prior to that, they are provided with what I call, it's like a brain prep video. It's about 16 minutes. So with that, the reason why we do that is because just the way that our brains work, our amygdala loves to feel like fight or flight when anything new is presented. So this MAP process, it's like there's a part of you that's going to, be going like, yeah, and it's like, do we need to fight this? Do we need to run from this? They've got this video that helps the mind to understand what is happening or what is going to happen and why it's done the way that it is. It helps that fight or flight to just relax and let go and understand, oh, okay.
I'm doing
I
this
get
for
it.
a reason.
Yeah, I get it.
Safe space, and I'm doing this for a reason. And
Yeah.
it's so interesting you say that because I often see this. I do coaching myself, and I often see this with people that I consult with are invested in growing, but subconsciously they're blocked. And you hit it right on the head. It's like that fight or flight. They're either like, yes, I'm invested, I'm spending the money, I'm here to listen and open, or it's like, I'm invested and I'm going to tell you all of the excuses of why I do what I do and who I am and blah, 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 blah,
Right.
blah. And then you're like,
Yeah.
well, why did you spend the money then? Because,
Right.
I mean, if you're gonna
because there's a part of them that knows they need to change. There's a part of them that knows that they want to change. And it's not enough. It's not enough to know you need to change or feel like you need to change, and that you desire with earnest, I mean, on a deep level, you really desire to change. When you mentioned the subconscious, that's one of the reasons why I basically decided that MAP had to be a part of what I offered, because it's where the person is introduced to their superconscious. So that's one of the things that's unique about MAP. So the superconscious is able to communicate with the conscious aspect of us, which is about 5 to 8%. And then the rest is all subconscious that is influencing our behaviors, our thoughts, our triggers are definitely coming from the subconscious, because most people, they don't even know why they got triggered.
With over 26 years of real life experiences as a thriving entrepreneur, I'm here to bring you sophistication, insight, and expertise into every aspect of your life. This is Another Million Miles, where luxury meets authenticity and every step brings you closer to the life that you deserve.
Triggered, but it's because something has been activated.
Yes.
Right. Okay, so maybe we'll come back to that. But it's like, but they get triggered all the time, even, and they don't know it. It's like you're saying, it's like, so with MAP, we're communicating with the superconscious. My superconscious is connecting with their superconscious. So just know we all have a superconscious. So it's not like I got a superconscious and you don't have one. And Carl Jung, spelled Jung, some people may not have heard of him. So I just want to say he started talking about this aspect of ourselves, the superconscious, but he did not continue the research. There's someone else that picked up the research. So just know this isn't a new concept. It's just a concept that the majority of people do not realize how powerful this aspect of our being is. And this part of us can help us to communicate with the subconscious, which without that connection, it's more difficult to impact. Can't change something about your life without getting the subconscious on board. If your subconscious has parts, and when I say parts, I'm talking about there's a younger version of you that there's all these memories from every year, every moment that you have been a part of this journey, this life journey. So imagine that there's a part of you that knows everything about you, has been on the journey with you since your conception. And when you think about, and it's like an observer. So imagine a non-judgmental, powerful observer that is there when you ask for help. That's the other thing, because the person might be saying, well, if I got this powerful part of me, why hasn't that part of me been stepping up and helping me? It's because that part of you honors your decisions, your conscious decisions, honors your will. When you say no, it's like, and so you have some patterns that have been established. And one of those patterns is that you like trying to figure out stuff that you don't know anything about. And so your superconscious can know that about you, but until you give, like for me as a practitioner, I do ask at the beginning of a MAP session, do I have your permission to work with your superconscious mind to treat and neutralize memories? Because it's all about memories. Even the stuff that we get upset about, it's just memories. It's memories, and sometimes it's memories of the stories, not just the event, but it's memories of the stories that we told ourselves, told other people, repeated. And then we have all these emotions that go along with the label. We said something was bad, that never should have happened. However we label the story, story, however the story plays out, the emotions are tangled up in what we called it. We called it awful. We called it horrible. I can't believe that happened. So the emotional charge is what is addressed during a MAP session as those things that we're having a conversation, and what they want to focus on, because we focus on whatever they want to focus on. So let's say they want to focus on how this particular person who's a part of their team just makes them feel crazy. They just want to, like every time they open their mouths, they just want to say, "Oh my God, would you please just go away?" And it can turn out that during a MAP session, while we're addressing that irritation that they have, that their superconscious gets engaged and is treating these memories that are connected to why they're so irritated. And what happens is they start to get insight. It's like during the session, they might say, "Oh my goodness, I'm just remembering the times that I would be with my grandfather. My grandfather would just rant and rant and rant and rant, and where it turns out that this person is reminding them
of something totally unrelated to the situation at hand."
Yes. And so during that MAP session, imagine that in addition to that insight that happened because of the treatment that we did, as far as, well, we call it treatment, but it's basically this talking to the superconscious, asking the superconscious, do you see the memories that are associated with this? Would you treat that, neutralize that? Anything disempowering that you see that's related to this, would you address that? And while we are waiting just a few minutes, I would have already had them tell me, how big is this charge that you're feeling, this reaction? Is it from a 0 to 10? 0, there's no reaction. 10, it's where it's like, oh my God, it's it's a high intensity. So I would give that command to superconscious. Superconscious would do its, and then there's a point where because I'm communicating with superconscious, there's a point where it feels like superconscious is saying, "I'm done." And so I check back in with the person and ask them, "So how are you feeling now?" So when you think about this person and, these different situations, how are you feeling now?
Yeah.
When I asked them to give me a number, maybe they started at a 10, and now they're saying that it's more like a 4 or a 5, so, but there's still something there. And they may even have some additional insight that came. And I'll say this, what I've noticed is when whatever it is that was causing the strong reaction, when that's addressed and that reaction is no longer there, when things are basically there's no resistance, there's wisdom that is on the other side of whatever was creating that block. There's always this wisdom that comes shining through. It's where the person realizes something they did not know before, they didn't see before, they didn't appreciate before. It's where they can even end up where they have compassion towards the person that was initially irritating them, to no end, because they realized it had nothing to do with them, and it's almost like they want to apologize to the person, but most times the person doesn't even know, that this was going on, inside of this, but it's remarkable. It's just remarkable that you can change that quickly and it's complete. It's not like whatever is addressed, whatever insight you receive, you have it now, you feel all good, but then it doesn't stick. Well, that's not true. With a MAP, the changes are deep, the changes are real, the changes last.
And how long does this process usually go on?
I recommend that a person goes at least 6 months, because whatever it is that we're addressing, we really are kind of like onions in terms of the layers. Yeah. So imagine that the more you clear and the more you integrate, because both are happening, we're not just trying to get rid of stuff. We are integrating things so that the things that empower them, that serve them now as an adult, are able to be there, to be strengthened, and the things that are basically just unnecessary blocks, those we want to move so that it becomes easier and easier for that person to show up as the best version of themselves, to recognize when they're in alignment, when they're out of alignment, because a lot of times people are so out of touch with what's going on within them, that one of the best things that they can do is learn how to notice when they are in alignment and when they're not, and how to keep that, how to achieve that. I also teach them how to use Map on the Go, just on a day-to-day basis, where there may be times that they know that they're getting ready to go into a situation and they are feeling some kind of way. They're feeling like, this is going to be challenging, and they can use Map on the Go, and they can basically calm themselves down before they go into a situation that normally would be very challenging for them.
This is so interesting. I love this. I know a lot about this, obviously not as much as you do, but I'm a big believer in breath work. I'm a big believer in like subconscious trauma, like you were speaking. There's things that I've had so many people say, well, I grew up in a great household. And I'm like, it has nothing
to do with that.
Household, like nobody's being judgmental here. It's
no, not at all.
Imprinted on you that you are just totally unaware of. And it's, to your point, it's so nice to cross paths and know that there are so many people out there doing work like you are, because I don't think there's so many people out of touch with that, and I can't even imagine walking through this crazy life that we live in right now without having those tools to go, you know what, this is a trigger, and this is something that, like, I'm not really sure why I'm triggered right now, but it is definitely a trigger. I'm it on a scale from 1 to 10. Where am I at? And like, what do I need to do to like alleviate this, where I can start thinking clearly so you can make a choice that serves you. So yes. I love this talk. So do you work with just C-suite people, or is this something that you offer through any type of other platform?
I know what it's like to interact with people who maybe are saying or doing things that used to trigger, that it's like there's nothing happening. Matter of fact, I am able to show up in a way that facilitates our interactions. For instance, I have a person who used to trigger me because this was someone who liked to ask what I was doing, what I was working on, how I felt about things, and whatever they would take it and twist it somehow, how they were going to twist it, but it would end up being kind of twisted. I had decided, before mapping on this, I would no longer share anything with this person.
Thank you for joining me on Another Million Miles, where luxury and authenticity meet to enrich your journey. This is Another Million Miles, and I'll see you on the path ahead in our next episode. Until then, keep embracing the journey, savoring each moment, keep dreaming big and moving closer to the life you envisioned, and traveling afar.